What's up, guys? It's Bye here. In this video, I'm gonna go to the list of the skills that are available for champion of Olympia, and I'm gonna tell you guys what are some of the best skills you should be using, and some of the skills that I don't think you should be using. So first thing first, let's go from the bottom up here. For the common skill, I will definitely rank Field of Surgery is definitely a higher rank than the Swift March here. So Field of Surgery heal all your troop healing factor 5000. That can bring up your survivability a lot longer, especially when it comes to this game. Like you want to get that MVP, right? So you want to be able to survive longer so that you can get that kill that you needed. Swift marching, like increase the troop march speed by 30% for 15 seconds. It can help you in certain situations, but it doesn't help you much when it comes to fighting. And I think in this game, like being able to survive much longer on the field is more important. You can get to the flag maybe, I don't know, 10 seconds faster, but like, hey, can you hold the flag? That is the question there. Is your troop gonna die, right? So that Field of Surgery will help you get into that like big brawler, big fight, and you gotta be able to survive. You gotta be able to help your team fight. You gotta be able to help your team win, right? The swift marching can help you chasing after some of the flag, but it's not help you much when it comes to fighting. And I honestly would pick Field of Surgery all the time. Doesn't matter. Like to be honest, I could be wrong, but from what I've seen so far, right, Field of Surgery is much better. So for the common skill, for the secondary skill here, um, marching tune is definitely the best skill for this category here. Choose a visible area and deal skill damage to all enemy troops in that area. Damage factor 4000. So 4000 damage factor can inflict up to like 5% to 10% HP. So when you cast this skill, depend on the marches. Like I've seen that this skill can deal very high damage to an archer march. A little bit less damage to like an infantry marches here, but I'm seeing from like 5% to 10% HP loss for every marches that got hit by this skill. So very good skills there. If you can manage to cast these skills for like 6 marches from the enemy, it's at like 60%, 40% to 60% HP you take out from the enemy right there, right? So definitely very good skill. Fearless Roar, the troop immediately gain 50% increased march speed for 15 seconds, as well as 5 stack of mastery. All damage dealt plus 3% per stack for 10 seconds, right? So imagine if you are fighting someone here and you got cast this skill, so the march speed bonus is useless. You're not gonna be able to use it. And if you want to use this skill when you want to, oh, I want to go to the other target a little bit faster, like why would you use this skill? You are wasting that 5 stack of mastery. So definitely not one of the best skills that I consider when it comes to fighting. And as I said before, right, I would rather pick a skill that can help you fight and get that kill in the mass PvP, mass fighting. Laser charge, choose a troop under your command, which will turn up to fight a nearby enemy and take 50% reduced damage for only 5 seconds. 5 seconds is a very little. I just don't think it is worth the skill slot here. Even though it only have a 9-second cooldown, you can use it more often, but it's just not good in my opinion, especially when it comes to like big fight. It's very difficult to target marches. And marching tune for me is still taking the by far number one pick for me here for this secondary skill, marching tune. Okay, so let's go to the another secondary skill here. So in here, first of all, I will tell you guys one skill you should never pick, which is the slant dice. After one of your troops deals skill damage 3 times, the next instant of skill damage will also damage up to 3 nearby enemy troop in circular area. Damage factor 500. So you have to wait for your marches to cast the skill 3 times. Like, come on! This is probably the most useless skill right here of this secondary. Vengeful Strike is definitely my number one pick in this one. It can work very well in mass fighting situation here. If you read the skill description here, each time your troop lose 5% of their units, so let's say you have 100%, every time you lose 5% can lose up to 20 times, right? So 20 times you gotta be able to cast this skill if your march is going from 100% to 0%. they deal skill damage to all nearby enemies. So imagine all that big fighting, like all the nearby enemies going to get that AoE skill damage factor 500. At the same time, you also take 15% reduced damage for 3 seconds. So very, very good when it comes to a mass fighting, because you gain swarm and your HP go down. You gotta be able to take 15% less damage from the enemy. So one of the very, very best skill in this category, I believe. And this skill can also work very, very well with the other skill here, which is Bloodlust. I will explain it later. And I would say the second, coming into second, is the Relentless Strike. It's a pretty decent skill. Depend on your setup. This skill might work better for you, I would say, when you're using a lot of cavalry. And so for the next 40 seconds, you're making 2 normal attack per turns. And oh, Vengeance Full Strike is also a passive skill as well, so it works all the time. You do not need to activate it. So that's another plus side. So let's go back to the Relentless Strike here. So for the next 40 seconds, you should make 2 normal attack per turn, so it can boost up your DPS by quite a lot. It can definitely help you get more kills there. But for survivability, Vengeance Full Strike is better and more AoE skill damage as well. Relentless Strike can work well with Master Battlefield, and especially when you run cavalry. So this might be the combo that you run. Let's say if you run more than like 2 cavalry marches for your setup, you might want to go with Master of the Battlefield and Relentless Strike. Other than that, I think Vengeance Full Strike is still gonna be my #1 pick there for the secondary skill here. And let's go to this one here. The first skill, Cornerstone skill, right? The first one, you have an option to go all out, right? Allow your troop chain into an arrow tower, doing direct damage to a nearby enemy troop once every 2 seconds, blah blah blah. I think this skill is, I don't think this skill is very good, right? It can only be used for 1 marches, first of all, and it's very, very situational. It doesn't help you into like a big open field fighting, big mass PvP fighting. Definitely is the least skill I would pick here. If you had to pick one of the skill in this category, you would definitely want to pick the second or third skill here. Bloodlust can work very, very well if you pick Vengeance Full Strike. Because when you lose 5% HP, right? You lose 5% HP, you take that 15% reduced damage, and if you also cast Bloodlust here, you're also gaining back more HP as well. So you gotta be able to cast Vengeance Full Strike more frequently, right? More often actually. More. Not more frequently, but like just you gotta be able to cast it more because you have more HP. And at the same time, it also brings up your survivability as well, especially if you're running like more infantry marches in your setup. Bloodlust is definitely, I would say, one of the best combo I've seen so far is Bloodlust and Vengeance Full Strike. If you're like an infantry player, that is definitely a true skill set combo you want to use all the time when you go into that big fighting. Master of the Battlefield is definitely one of the skills that can help you get a lot more DPS, can get a lot more kills, definitely, especially when you run if your setup contain a lot of cavalry marches, 2 or more cavalry marches. This Master of Battlefield is definitely gonna help you a lot. But again, right, if I had to pick, like I would say, if you're running infantry, if you're like an infantry player like myself, I would say Bloodlust is rank number one pick for you. But if you like a cavalry player, Master of the Battlefield might work better for you, and you can run it with Relentless Strike, so it can boost up your DPS by quite a lot. Other than that, just go with the Bloodlust here. So to sum up, right, if you're like an infantry player, I would strongly recommend you to go with Bloodlust and Vengeance Full Strike as your combo set right there. And if you like a cavalry player, go with Master of the Battlefield and Relentless Strike. I think it can work better for you. Even if you like cavalry player, you can also go with Vengeance Full Strike as well. I think it can still work very, very well. I think might be even better than Relentless Strike. Maybe. That is something that some of the cavalry player need to test it out. Like I am not a cavalry player. I'm running a lot of infantry marches in my setup. So my #1 pick is Vengeance Full Strike and Bloodlust here. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys find this video helpful, can help you pick up your skills that you can use for Champion of Olympia. Thanks for watching the video, guys.